What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Duel School, I believe episode 10, where we are going to be checking out some of the latest Pokemon put in the game right now. Here we go, getting into it. We have Incineroar in the new game now, Tapu Bulu, Ludicolo, and of course the Litten evolutionary line as we just stated. So let's get right into it. It says here that Incineroar move past Ghost-type Pokemon on the entry points with Bust In. So let's get into a little more detail with that right now. So Bust In, as it says, is that this Pokemon can MP move from the bench past Ghost-type Pokemon and Pokemon affected by special conditions. So kind of cool, especially considering that there have been a lot of Ghost-type Pokemon in the game of recent. And a lot of them are quite powerful combos, so Incineroar is a nice way to kind of combat that, considering its dark typing within the game. I think they're kind of just using that to influence the ability Bust In itself. So a good way to counter Ghost-type Pokemon. If you can get off special conditions, all the better for it. And then let's move over to its attacks over here as well, with Darkest Lariat doing 110 base damage. If the battle opponent is knocked out, move the Pokemon adjacent to the battle opponent, excluding this one, to their bench. So you don't have to worry about sending Incineroar back to the bench. You're pretty much just knocking out other Pokemon around you. And then its 2-star purple attack is Suplex, moves the battle opponent to a point 1 step behind this Pokemon. The battle opponent gains weight. So this could be cool if you're trying to take up your opponent's goal point. You suplex your opponent, they're now behind you. You don't really have to worry about as many Pokemon in your way to get that goal. Then we have Flare Blitz doing 80 decent damage. If this Pokemon is knocked out, the battle opponent becomes burned, as we've seen with other Flare Blitz attacks on Pokemon before in the past. And if you level this up all the way to level 10, then I believe its miss size will only be 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case. All in all, not a bad EX Pokemon in my opinion. I mean, it's only a 2-space runner, but kind of understandable in the sense that if you were to just be a 3-space runner and get all the way to your opponent's side of the field and then suplex your way to victory, I mean, that's kind of the goal with this guy, I imagine anyway. But either way, I think it's a pretty fair figure in my opinion. Darkest Lariat, I do like. Again, your battle opponent is knocked out, and then you kind of clear space around you by knocking one other Pokemon that your opponent controls to the bench as well. So kind of cool overall. Nothing too extremely crazy. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to see some good plays. If you guys do have any, hit me up on Twitter and tag me on that, or Instagram as well, what have you. I'd be happy to check that out. And then we have Tapu Bulu, which I think packs quite a punch in this new expansion here. Let's get into just why right now. So it's Grass Fairy, just like all the other Tapu are partial fairy typings, and has the ability Grassy Surge. This ability is only valid on your turn, same as the other Tapu that we've had so far. This Pokemon can MP move past non-fairy type Pokemon on the field. When this Pokemon is on the field, your Grass-type Pokemon ignore knockout and movement-causing effects of opponents' attacks. Removes the weight condition from Pokemon within 2 steps of this Pokemon. So, this is kind of interesting here. Now, it says that your Grass-type Pokemon ignore knockout and movement-causing effects of opponents' attacks. So, I don't think if it's one white attack against another white attack, for example, I don't believe it means that it just survives and doesn't get knocked out. I think it's more so like, I would imagine maybe if it was like a curse marker, like if you were to remove a curse marker, it doesn't get knocked out. I believe it's something like that. I don't think your grass-type Pokemon are just automatically immune to being sent to the bench in that regard. I don't believe that's the case, or like they can't be manipulated and moved, say from like a Trevenant, for example. I think they are immune from being moved by Trevenant, just to give that example as well as I just said. But yeah, I was confused by this reading at first. I have not play tested Tapu Bulu yet, but yes, I don't believe this means that your grass-type Pokemon are suddenly just invulnerable to damage or anything like that. Correct me if I'm wrong again, but I do believe that is the case. Otherwise, this would be extremely broken, and you would never have to worry about your Pokemon being sent away. So, kind of interesting for sure. But I do like that at least, while it won't make your grass-type Pokemon completely indestructible, it does help for sure. Because it's like 2 less factors that you would have of worrying about your Pokemon getting knocked out of the way of your opponents. So, pretty cool in all. And then it has, let's see, a miss-size totaling of 16. Full swing, it does 110 damage. and moves one Pokemon that is both adjacent to this Pokemon and not its battle opponent to a point 3 steps away, and then that Pokemon gains weight. So again, another good way of clearing space around Tapu Bulu and being able to further advance if you can. And they gain weight for one turn, not too bad, that's kind of cool actually. And then also has a dodge of 4, similar to other Tapu in the game right now. Smash is 99, again very handy when facing off against Pokemon like Mew, for example, who has Hypersonic, which can survive 100 plus damage attacks. And then we have Ula Ula Wish, a very cool little blue attack right here, saying that you may select one opposing Pokemon. If you do, exclude this Pokemon from the duel. Selected Pokemon and opposing Pokemon with the same name have no abilities until the end of the turn. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. I just can't believe that you would be able to just exclude Tapu Bulu and then shut down any strong abilities that your opponent may have. I mean, there are plenty of strong ones out there, so to be able to do that is pretty cool. I mean, you could potentially shut down another Tapu Bulu if you wanted to. So kind of interesting to consider. That this might be one of the better blue attacks of Tapu to date, at least in my opinion. I like Tapu Koko's as well. Tapu Lele is pretty neat as well, but Tapu Bulu, I do like Ula Ula Wish. And let's move on to Torracat, which is kind of impressive. And in my opinion, it makes it kind of easy to be able to knock out Pokemon with Torracat in order to evolve an Incineroar, thus upping the damage that Incineroar is capable of, as well as making its 2-star purple attack obviously a 3-star purple attack due to evolution. Anyway, it is fire type, and then it has the ability Fire Bell, saying that if this Pokemon is knocked out, all grass-type Pokemon within 2 steps become burned. So, if you're facing off against a deck with Tapu Bulu in it, at least you have one more way to be able to take them on. By at least, if you can't knock them out very easily, then at least you're lowering their damage and their capabilities of being able to knock you out so much. Anyway, let's move on. It has its Playful Punch attack doing 40 damage, and it knocks the battle opponent back as far as it can move in a straight line. The battle opponent gains weight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's reminiscent to me at least of Mewtwo. Kind of interesting. And then it has Fake Out 3-star purple. This Pokemon switches places with its battle opponent, similar to what Incineroar can do, and again, another way of advancing your opponent's side of the field all the way to their goal point, potentially speaking. Let's go on now. We have Ludicolo, which is a pretty fun figure. I was wondering when this guy was going to make it into the game, and here he is. Water Grass type from Gen 3. Ability is Come Here. When this Pokemon moves from the bench to the field or appears as an evolution, each player moves one benched Pokemon to its respective entry point. Your opponent goes first. So that's kind of cool actually in a way. I mean, it's one way to get your bench, all your Pokemon off the bench and start guarding your entry points if need be, or if you just want to fill up the field with your Pokemon more so. This is a way to do it. Of course, obviously your opponent gets to do so as well, but maybe they don't want to move certain Pokemon from the bench. Maybe they'd rather have them on defense. Either way, I think it's a pretty fun little strat. I don't know how strong it will be. I would love to see this put to good use. And again, if you guys do have footage of this being put to good use, please let me know. Tag me in it. I'd love to see what you guys do with it. Miss size totaling of 12, Hydro Pump 70. I believe that is very similar to Suicune if I'm not correct. Grass Knot is pretty darn strong. We have some good Grass Knot Pokemon in this set. So 50 damage, and if the battle opponent's attack is 120 damage or higher, the opponent is knocked out instead of this Pokemon. So you're facing off against a Rayquaza, that dude is going down against Ludicolo if it spins Grass Knot. And then Lively Dance is interesting. 2-star purple, and all the Pokemon on the field spin. Those that spin white attacks gain weight. You could potentially do that, like say if you were to have multiple Ludicolo on the field in general or whatever, or if your opponent you notice has a lot of strong white attackers, this is one way to slow them down, so it's kind of nice. I don't know how effective it really is, but it's something. Litten, here we go, pretty fun. Fire Alert is crazy. This is an uncommon Pokemon, super easy to get, to pull, I would imagine. It's only uncommon, and it's a 3-point runner. So you can get this thing across the field as much as possible, evolve it to Torracat, evolve it to Incineroar, take the game, and on top of that, Fire Alert. The battle opponent's gold attacks become misses. This is crazy. If you just run one of these guys, you're able to take out priority right off the bat. If you're running a deck, say with primarily purple attackers, this is one way that you can combat your opponent's gold attackers for sure. And it's also nice in way. I mean, I might recommend running 2 Litten or at least 1 Litten and have an Incineroar or Torracat in your deck as well. That way, you're protecting your Incineroar from getting knocked out if it were to spin its suplex move. Because again, that's a purple attack, so Fire Alert can help prevent you getting knocked out that way. So let's see here. Ember only does 40. Scary Face when the battle opponent is knocked out. I'm sorry, the battle opponent is knocked 1 step back, pardon me, and then gains weight, as we've seen with other Scary Face users. But again, Fire Alert and its ability to move 3 spaces across the field is really where this Pokemon shines. I think it's awesome that an uncommon Pokemon has such a strong ability. I would love to see Litten be used. I would be surprised if it wasn't being used more so. It does have quite a bit of miss, though. Let's go back to that real quick and see. Yeah, miss size totaling up to 16, though, I mean, you can drop that down to 12, and then further if you go past level 5 in evolution, or leveling up, I should say. And then we have Lombre, another pretty strong water type Pokemon in the game, water grass, pardon me. So its ability Slippery is pretty cool. Just once before this Pokemon would be surrounded, it may switch places with an adjacent Pokemon. So it's one way to make this guy survive and potentially just get yourself out of a bad situation, so long as your opponent doesn't have 2 setups right next to each other of being able to surround Lombre, which doesn't happen very often, I must say. At least in my experience. And then let's move on to its wheel here. Miss size of 12, Bubble Beam 50, but really where it's at, of course, is Grass Knot doing 40 damage. But again, if your opponent has an attack of 120 or higher, it is knocked out instead of Lombre. So pretty cool. And then we have Sabotage. The battle opponent gains weight 3. I mean, Sabotage is great. A great 3-star purple attack. I would wonder if you wouldn't want to just get Grass Knot on there instead and let that be the attack you level up, just to further gain your chances of being able to knock out your opponent's Pokemon that happen to be super strong. Get rid of the heavy problems as soon as possible. So that's pretty cool. Let's move on here. We also have Oricorio as well. I actually like this Oricorio a lot. This is the Bylay style. Fire Flying. Bylay is the ability, saying that when this Pokemon is on the field, your Fire-type Pokemon deal plus 1 damage, I should say, for each Fire-type Pokemon on the field. And then Air Slash 60, battle opponent gains weight, but then Passionate Dance is pretty cool. You may choose one of your Pokemon on the bench and evolve it. The battle opponent gains weight. That's insane. That is crazy. So you just spin this, you get your evolution out of the way, you are great. I don't think this counts toward Mega Evolution. Again, if it does, let me know if you guys are able to pull off Mega Evolution. I think that'd be pretty broken, but hey, a Mega Evolution is still evolution, though it does take a plate to do so, so that's why I feel like that wouldn't actually work. Either way, though, if you want to get a free evolution, this is one great way to do it. You can do Torracat to Incineroar, Litten to Torracat, whatever you really want. The world is your oyster with Passionate Dance. It's kind of crazy. And then Roost, as we've seen plenty of times, this Pokemon recovers from all status effects in exchange and must then wait 3. Wait 3 is scary. That kind of is like an eternity in this game at times. But still, I mean, you're removing status effects. You are surviving an attack. So Roost may be worth it. I think Passionate Dance, though, is what one would really want to level up, though, for sure. Though then again, Oricorio needs to stay on the field to further support your Fire-type Pokemon. So maybe Roost, just making it have further survivability, Roost may be the way to go. Let me know what you guys prefer to level up, though, with all your different Oricorio styles. Is it the purple attack that they have? Is it the blue attack Roost that they always have? Let me know what your opinions are, because again, keeping it alive means that you're keeping your other Fire-type Pokemon alive, and losing them can be detrimental to your overall strategy and game plan overall. But yeah, we do have Pokemon that have gotten recent buffs. The Mega Charizard X and Y Pokemon have gotten buffs just recently with this latest update. Chestnut's Hammer Arm has moved up from 90 damage to 100 damage now, causing, I believe, weight 3, is it? Oh no, Spiky Shield does weight 3. Hammer Arm just makes Chestnut gain 1 weight. That's true. Okay, and then we have Torterra, which has also gotten a good buff. I believe Crunch only did about 50 damage, and they doubled that just about, with now dealing at 100 damage. Withdraw, and also Cornerstone is great, saying that your Pokemon can move over this Pokemon when using an MP move. So if you want to put Torterra on your entry point, it's like the perfect place to put the guy, really. because then you could just defend however you want from there. Earthquake, 120 damage, very solid, but again, you got to watch out if you're going to be facing off against Lombre and Ludicolo, other Pokemon with similar attacks as well, because again, that 120 damage can get yourself destroyed very quickly. But yeah, only a miss size of 8, not too bad. Pardon me, actually. Pardon me, that is not 8. Oh wow, that's actually going to be 12. Okay, and then withdraw again, keeping it alive as long as possible. I mean, I think Earthquake is a great way to go, though, even though considering that you could get knocked out when facing up against Pokemon that can take down 120 damage attackers. But anyway, guys, I think that'll about do it for us on this episode of Duel School. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to pulling, and if you guys have already pulled from this expansion, what Pokemon have you been using and that you've been loving lately, all right? Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great one. Be on the lookout for the next episode. I love you all. Later!